is doing well. Okay, so bu videoda man text organization haqida gapirib bermoqchi edim. Text organizationni tushuntirish uchun mana bu passage'ni topdim. The development of the English language. So bugun sizlarga ko'rsatadigan video darslikda mainly IELTSdagi reading passage'lar o'zi qanaqa organizationda bo'ladi. Ko'piga qarab aytganda hammasi ham unaqa bo'lmaydi. Qanaqa organization turlariga tushadi va bulardan qanaqa qilib vaqtdan unumli foydalangan holda savollarga javoblarni har doim to'g'ri topish yo'llarini o'rgataman. Mana shu passage bo'yicha va mana bu yoqda bu passagega berilgan savollar ham bor. Birinchi qiladigan narsamiz, men просто aytmoqchi bo'lgan narsam, IELTS reading passagelarni har doim iloji boricha birinchi bo'lib organizationni tushunib olishga harakat qilinglar. Organization ko'p narsaga yordam beradi. Misol uchun qayerda qanaqa ma'lumot berilganini taxminan bilib olsangiz, keyin kerakli ma'lumot qaysi paragrafdan topilishini tezroq bilasiz va topishingiz ham osonroq bo'ladi. Ikkinchi narsa, skimming and scanning texnikalari bor. Buni ham hozir bir aytib o'taman. Skimming nima, scanning nima. Undan keyin spelling juda ham muhim. Listeningda boshqa narsa, chunki listeningda o'zingiz so'zlarni to'g'ri spell qilishni bilishingiz kerak. Lekin Englishda sizga tayyor matn turibdi, to'g'ri ko'chirib olsangiz bo'ldi. Shuning uchun readingda xato qiladiganlarga, spellingda xato qiladiganlarga tegishli bu gap. Ehtiyot bo'lib copy qilinglar. Va oxirgi narsa bu savollarni birinchi o'qib olish tavsiya qilaman. Okay, so first of all, readingda birinchi bo'lib textni title'ni o'qishimiz kerak. The title is the development of the English language. So from this we can say English language, ingliz tilini develop qilishi. Ya'ni vaqt o'tgan sari o'zgarib borishi, o'zgarib ketayotgani. Shu development degan so'zni o'zidan ham bilsak bo'ladi. Bu qanaqadir tarixiy tekst bo'lishi kerak. Bizga qachon nima bo'lganini, shu English language boshidan boshlanib hozirgi momentga kelguncha qanaqa o'zgarishlar bo'lgani haqida qanaqadir bitta ma'lumot kutsak bo'ladi. Bu endi logicdan kelib chiqib yotgan narsa. Once we know this, next thing we should look at are the questions. So savollarda kattaroq qiling. Bu passage 1, so it has questions 1 through 13. 13gacha bo'lgan savollar bor va bizda mainly ikki xil savol turi bor. Birinchi 1dan 6gacha bo'lgan savol turlarida bu matching information. It says here which paragraph contains the following information. Ya'ni 1dan 6gacha bo'lgan ma'lumot qaysi paragrafda berilgan. Bu yerda ko'rsanglar bo'ladi. Paragraflar harflab yozilgan A, B, C. So topganimizni to'g'ri harfini mana yoniga yozib qo'yamiz. The next question type bu table. Tableda, in a table bo'yida gap fill question bular. But you can use only one word only from the passage for each answer. So tablitsa formasi bizda date'lar bor. Vaqtlar berilgan, event shu vaqtlarda nimalar bo'lgani, undan keyin effect on English. So shu eventlarni English languagega bo'lgan ta'siri. Asosiy bizning savollarimiz hammasi shu effect columnda berilgan. Okay, so now we know paragraph information matching bilan table bor ekan. Now we can go back to the text and quickly look at how it's organized. Okay, how it's organized deganda birinchi bo'lib I want to find out mainly bitta paragraf ichida nima ma'lumot berilgan. So like bitta sentence da tushuntirib beradigan bo'lsam yoki bitta ikkita keyword da tushuntirib beradigan bo'lsam, o'shalar nima bo'lardi? Shu ma'lumotni qidirishim kerak. Buning uchun birinchi tavsiya qilgan narsam albatta first paragraph o'qing. Let me get my highlight tool. The history of the English language is a tale of centuries of evolution. All right. So, before we begin, sizlarga aytib qo'yadigan narsam, agar ingliz tilingiz yaxshi bo'lmasa, IELTS readingni hali beri unuting. Ingliz tilini zo'r qilib oling. Okay. The history of the English language is a tale of centuries of evolution. So, the word tale means like a story of centuries of evolution. So this phrase, a tale of centuries of evolution, means, the language has evolved through many years. Century is 100 years usually. So 100 yillar davomida bo'lib ketgan o'zgarishlar haqida bo'lgan hikoya. Ingliz tilining tarixi. So orqadan oldinga qarab tarjima qilsangiz bo'ladi. Misol uchun evolyutsiyasi, 100 yillab evolutionni storiesi, ingliz tilining tarixi. Okay, so from this comment, from this sentence, I can kind of guess. Demek bu paragraf mainly, bu paragrafda mainly shu centuries of evolution haqida ma'lumot bergan. And of course, centuries of evolution degandan keyin bizga qanaqadir vaqtni berish kerak. And here you see birinchi bo'lgan narsa in the 5th century AD. So yillarni, berilgan yil ma'lumotlarni blue qilib belgilab ketaman. CD IELTSda bunaqa highlight qilish option bo'ladi. Anaqa rasm chizish optioni bo'lmaydi, type qilish option bo'lmaydi, lekin at least you can highlight. So 5th century AD. So birinchi centuryda nima bo'lgani? Britain was invaded by Germanic tribes. Okay. So main ma'lumotlarni o'zini yozib ketaman. Britain invaded by Germanic tribes. Germanic means, colonies from Germany. There you go. And so far, that's all I need to know. Chunki mayda juda gap yo'g'i. Germany, Denmark, Angles, Saxons, Jutes, mayda juda narsalar hammasi. And basically, I'm going to skim deganda prosta organization qatta nima taxminan ko'rib olaman. Bu yerda history haqida aytayotgan ekan, evolution bo'lgani, mana yil haqida gap ketyapti va Germany Britainni invade qilgandan keyin bo'lgan o'zgarishlar haqida ma'lumot bor. Keyin albatta katta harf bilan yozilgan so'zlarga e'tibor bering. Here we have misol uchun Germany. Bularni sari o'qib boraman. We have the location Denmark, we have the Angles, we have Saxons and Jutes. So Angles, Saxons, Jutes xuddani o'zbeklar, o'rislar, xitoyliklar deganday, these are nationalities. And here we have katta harf bilan West Germanic family of languages. Okay, so I'm guessing shu Angles, Saxons and Jutes there, these are all called West Germanic languages. Okay, so the Angles var mana bitta yana nima? All right. Mana bitta misol uchun Scotland bar, England bar, Wales, Cornwall, Ireland. These are all locations. And here's the word Celtic with a big letter. English source. Again, we have London, we have Dover, and we have Kent. All right, so we have some locations. I think most of these are in Madinah. Shu Britain invaded by Germany dan keyin kelib chiqqan places. Well, maybe not, but here we can see the words, another Celtic degan so'z bor, Celtic speaking inhabitants deyapti, so people who speak Celtic. So basically, bu paragrafda 5th century AD dan keyin va shu paytda Britain Germany dan invade bo'lgandan keyin bo'lgan changes. Keyingi paragraph, birinchi sentence, and I'm going to make it pink again. The next wave of invaders. Okay, look at this. The next wave of invaders. We're talking about invasions. 5th century AD, Britain was invaded by Germany. So Germany invaded Britain. And I can actually write it right here. 5th C, the poem, in Britain. Or I will just say Germany invaded Britain. Okay. And over here in paragraph B, put the vaqt berilgan, it says next wave of invaders. So bundan keyin bo'lgani Vikings from present-day Norway and Denmark. So here we have now Vikings invaded. And it says the Vikings from the present-day Norway, and in bugungi kundagi Norway bilan Denmarkdan kelgan Vikings, and they spoke Old Norse. So this is a language, Old Norse language, which is a North Germanic language. Here we go. So Vikings invaded, and here we have some information about this language, origin of this language, Old Norse. o'zi bu tilni o'zi qayerdan kelgani haqida ma'lumot. Here you go. And what else? Katta harfdan berilgan English bor. Old Norse word hap meaning. So we have some definitions like hap degan so'zi ma'nosi means good luck. Hop, yana qanaqa sk mana shu so'zlar words that begin with sk are of Old Norse origin. So Old Norsedan chiqqan so'zlar ekan. Sk bilan boshlangan so'zlar. For example, sky, skill and skin. We have some examples of words from the Viking language. Okay, so now we go on to see the next invasion, Yan invasion, which is Britain. The next invasion of Britain took place in 1066 when William the Conqueror of France, William is someone from France, invaded England. Okay, so this is now French invasion, bringing the French language with him. All right, so I'm going to change this color to pink. And over here, for the comment, I will include, now this is the French invasion. Okay, so French became the language of the Norman aristocracy. We have these numbers here. Numberlan albatta highlight qilib, it's very useful. I'm going to make this yellow. I see some words here like crown, castle, court, parliament, army, and government. All came from French. Okay, so these are examples of some words that came from French. And we have here Old English, another Old English. What else? Like this word right here became this word. Beef, mutton, pork, and veal. These came from French words. Okay, so English there. Shunaqa influence ham bo'lgan ekan. French influence bo'lgan ekan. Here I see the Anglo-Saxon names. We also see the Normans right here. These are all nationalities or tribes. Alright, so French invasion bu undanam o'tgan wordlar haqida. And indeed, up until the 14th century, okay, so 14th century gacha, the English used the Roman numerals. Roman numerals bu unaqa matching headings ishlatiladigan Greek letters, Roman letters. Roman numerals they had learned from the Normans. Then in 1932, a Welshman named Geoffrey Chaucer wrote a poem called A Treatise on the Astrolabe, in which he used Hindu-Arabic numerals for the first time in English. Okay, because it's like what happened first and next. 14 asrgacha the English, Angliyaliklar Roman numerals ishlatishibdi. Normandan o'rgangan. So we're still over here. French and the Normans ulardan bo'lgan effect the Roman numerals ishlatishgan. Undan keyin 1390-yilda mana bu odam she'r yozgan ekan. O'sha she'rida Hindu-Arabic numerals ishlatgan ekan. Birinchi marta Englishda. Okay. So taxminan bilamiz. This paragraph will be about this Geoffrey Chaucer's poem. Va qanaqa qilib buni effecti Englishga ta'sir buni qanaqa qilib Englishda ta'sir bo'lgani haqida. So I'm going to go down here and say until 14th century Roman numerals. So 1392 Chaucer degan odam used Hindu-Arabic numerals. Okay. So main asosiy nima bo'lgan narsalarni yozib boryapman. I'm not writing like a whole sentences. Bunda ham kerakli narsalar, misol uchun the names of things, like the poem, the Canterbury Tales bor. The A Treatise on the Astrolabe buni ham boshqa rang qilsam bo'lar ekan. This is the poem, the title of his publication. He also wrote this publication. See, this is the first book of poetry written in English, and this is important to know. Ingliz tilida birinchi yozilgan she'r kitobi. So he was known as the father of English literature. Okay, literature is like adabiyot. Middle English yozilgan ekan. And okay, from the 11th to the 15th century. So there you go. 11-dan 15 asrlar ham yozilgan bo'ldi. 11th to 15th century. I have Middle English used in literature. Alright, so adabiyotda Middle English ishlatilgani haqida 11-15 asrlarda bo'lgan haqida aytgan ma'lumot. Alright, so moving on, I will go to paragraph E. In 1476, William Caxton introduced the printing press. So here's something new. When somebody introduces something, bu qanaqadir invention bo'ladi, yangilik bo'ladi. And printing press is kind of like a printer, it's a printing machine. And he introduced this to England. Okay, so he introduced this printing machine in England. And this paragraph will be about the effects of this printing machine on the language of English. So books became cheaper. Here you can see some words like kitoblar arzonlashgan. More people learn to read. All right, so it has good effect, right, on literacy. Spelling was not standardized. Okay, so they're talking about now spelling, and we have his name. I'm going to just going to highlight his name. Here's the first English dictionary, Robert Cowdery's Table Alphabetical, published in 1604, which means the words, blah blah blah. Okay, so basically printing press bo'lgandan keyin spelling standardized bo'lmabdi. Odamlar o'qishni o'rgangan, kitoblar arzonlashgan. Caxton haqida mana he was inconsistent deyapti. O'zi to'g'ri consistency qilmagan ekan spellingida. Keyin mana bitta English dictionary chiqqan ekan 3000 ta so'z bilan. So I'm going to say this year, and bu yil 1476. 1476, what happened? Well, I'm going to say printing press and dictionary. Printing press, dictionary, because these are important events. The first dictionary, the printing press, and the last paragraph, F, the English Renaissance. All right, this is also an important time period. So I'm going to say the English Renaissance right here. It saw the invention. It saw the invention of new words. So Renaissance means kind of like a renewal go'xshagan ma'noda. So the English Renaissance periodda yangi so'zlar chiqqan ekan, as well as a new uses for existing ones. So yangi so'zlar, yangi vocabulary and bor so'zlarni boshqa ma'noda, boshqa yo'lda, boshqa ma'nolarda ishlatish ham invented bo'lgan ekan. Okay, so here I have the word Latin. What does it say? Latin word meaning little mouse. Okay, so we have a little animal here, little mouse. We have Renaissance doctor's bod, muscles of the human body. This is the first time I'm hearing something about an animal and a human. Okay, that might be helpful. Okay, so bitta vaqt bor mana bitta 16th century. Word fact was used to mean something that's true. Okay, this is about the word fact, which means something that's true. Alright, so that's all I need to know. Bu yoqqa comment qilib yozib qo'yadigan narsam, basically, I'm going to say Renaissance. Renaissance paytida nima bo'ldi? New words. I hear maybe some animals and humans, or human body deb qo'yaman. And 16th century. Vaqt ham berilgan. Alright, so I have some keywords on the side for each of these paragraphs. Endi shu ma'lumot bilan men savollarni, javoblarini topishim osonlashishi kerak. I'm going to move this over. Okay, so look at the first paragraph. Aytgandek, bu organization tartibi sequential deyiladi yoki tarixiy narsa bo'lgani uchun tarixda ko'p narsalar ma'lumot berilganda vaqt ishlatiladi. So this is called chronological sequence of events. And you can see that in the first two words, like the development degan so'zdan shu ideani topsa bo'ladi, history degan so'zdan topsa bo'ladi, evolution degan so'zdan shu anaqa organizationni anglab olsa bo'ladi. Agar siz ham reading passage qilgan bo'lsangiz, agar shunaqa so'zlarni ko'rsangiz boshida, titledami, development, history, evolution, biling most of the time bu chronological bo'ladi. Ya'ni birinchi berilayotgan ma'lumot earliest bo'lgan tarix, undan keyin oxirga borgan sari modern vaqtga qarab keladi. Ma'lumot topishingiz ham osonlashadi. Okay, so the first questions here, we have which paragraph contains the following information. And bu yerda birinchi savol, examples. Oh, I can highlight. Okay, examples of languages which contributed to the formation of English. All right, so matching information har doim ham paragraf tartibi bo'yicha kelmaydi. Bo'lmasam matching information bo'lmaydi. Lekin keywordlar bilan birga siz aniq hammasini o'qimadingiz, everything o'qimadik, lekin taxminan qayerda nima bo'lganini bildik, keywordlarni highlight qilib, shundan ham topsak bo'ladi paragraflarni. Misol uchun examples of language deyapti. Whenever you hear something like this, examples degan so'z yoki lists desa yoki misol uchun shunaqa list qilinadigan narsalar berilsa, always look for commas, okay? Virgullarni qidiring. Look for commas, separating nima deydi? Items. So bu yerda languages deyapti. Languagelarni virgul bilan berilgan listini qidiramiz. Va shu ma'lumot keyin English formationiga olib borgani haqida information topishimiz kerak. Looking at the first paragraph, if you remember, biz bu yerda mana Angles, Saxons and Jutes deb topdik. Bularni nationalities deb aytdik. But these are just nationalities. These are not examples of languages, right? We need to find examples of languages like French, German, nima bo'lsa ham. So West Germanic family of languages turibdi. And it says which are the ancestors of English. So biz list qidirganda imенно languagelarni listini topmadik, lekin mana Angles, Saxons and Jutes brought with them dialects of the West Germanic family of languages, which are the ancestors of English. So Angles were named from Engel, their land of origin. Here we're talking about these people's languages contributing to the formation of English. All right, so the answer for the first paragraph is, the first question is paragraph A. Because I have here examples of languages like from Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, West Germanic family of languages. Number 2, an explanation of why. So we're looking for some kind of a description. Explanation means a description. We are describing something. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Explanation of why a particular group of people. So I need to find the name of this people, of why these people did not contribute many words. So they did not contribute many words to English language. So I don't need to highlight English language because the whole paragraph is about English language. But look at this. They didn't contribute to many words. So I need to find two things. Birinchi bo'lib, the group of people qidirishim kerak. Xuddi Angles, Saxons, Vikings o'xshagan va o'shalarning atrofida topgandan keyin ko'p so'z qo'shmadi, ko'p so'z contribute qilmadi, bermadi ma'nosini topishimiz kerak. It has to be something negative. Here we're talking about different languages, people from the Germanic tribes, ular kelib Englishga qilgan effektlari ko'ringan. Invaders pushed original Celtic speaking inhabitants. So here we have this group of people, inhabitants, but Celtic speaking inhabitants, right? The particular group of people that I'm looking for. But they did not contribute many words bo'lish kerak. But that's not the idea we have here. They pushed the original language deyapti. They pushed these people out of this place and they left behind few Celtic words. And these are actually the origin of English. So what the ular contribute qilmadi degan idea bo'lishi mumkin emas. So I'm going to go to the next paragraph. Vikings invaded degan joyga. So they have Old Norse origin, the language Old Norse. And I see here they have the word sky, skill, skin, skdan boshlangan so'zlar Old Norsedan olingan ekan. And I have this idea right here. Although the Vikings, so here's another group, left their mark on the English language, they did not add many words. So here, they did not add many words to the English language means they did not contribute many words. And the group of people that I was looking for is the Vikings. This information is found in paragraph B. So my answer here would be paragraph B. Uchun savol, a mention of, we're just mentioning something. We're just saying, hey, by the way, this happened. So the mention of a significant written piece. So take a look. A written piece means something that has been published, something that was published, like a book, an article. We read about a poem, so significant written piece. Agar shunaqa ma'lumot bo'lsa, always look for titles. Yoki qo'shtirnoqda berilgan title bo'ladi, yoki italicized qilingan title bo'ladi. Like this. Hozir Control I bu taqlamayman, but qishatirib yozilgan font bor-ku, uni shunaqa deb beriladi. So that established English as a language worthy of formal expression. I need to find two things. Written piece topishim kerak. Shu written piece title qidiraman. I'm going to go here. If you remember, titlelarni pasrollarda ko'rdik. Kimdir mana right here. Chaucer yozgan she'r, A Treatise on the Astrolabe. Bu bor. Keyin he also wrote the Canterbury Tales. In pastda English Dictionary bor. So we have three publications: English Dictionary, Canterbury Tales, keyin A Treatise on the Astrolabe. So one of these established English as a language worthy of formal expression. Ikkita paragrafda bo'lgani uchun DE ma'nisi deb aytolmayman, aniq bittasini. Shuning uchun qidirishimiz kerak. It's worthy of formal expression. Formal expression means something that's not street language. Ya'ni formal yoziladigan tekstlarda ishlatiladigan. And if you look here, A Treatise on Astrolabe. Treatise haqida nima degan? Bu tekstda, bu poemda u Hindu-Arabic numerals ishlatganini gapirgan. Canterbury Talesda it was the first book of poetry written in English deb aytgan. So, keyingi dictionary deganda it was just published in 1604, contained 3000 words. But the used as formal degan ma'no yo'q, it's a simple definition. But over here in the first book of poetry, we also have this information about Chaucer. He is known as the father of English literature because he was the first person to prove that English was not a vulgar language. Vulgar means not pleasant, but could be used for literary purposes. Literary purposes means for literature, which is actually a form of formal writing. There you go. Okay, so now I know my paragraph is not E, it is D. Farqi yo'q, qaysi bir haqida gapirayotgani, lekin I think they're talking about his poems va poemlarda shunaqa literaturega worthy bo'lgan language ishlatgan. So my answer will be D. 3ga I'm going to write D. Number 4, examples. Again, we're looking for lists. Examples of the different ways in which the same person wrote the same word. So it's not Chaucer, maybe, because we're talking about a word, not really literature-related narsa. The same person wrote the same word. Bitta odam bitta so'zni yozgani haqida. And it's written in different ways. Har xil yo'lida bitta narsa qayta-qayta yozilgani. All right. So I'm going to go back up here. Bu yerda bitta odam haqida ma'lumot yo'q, просто inhabitants deb aytgan. Bitta so'zni qayta-qayta ishlatgan, repeated, wrote all over again, wrote many times degan ma'lumot yo'q. In B, I don't have any person, so I'm going to skip B. Cda, odam bormi? Odam. Bu yerda ham odam haqida ma'lumot yo'q. Просто gruppalar haqida ma'lumot bor va French so'zlar bor. Here we have French gave us many words that we use to describe food. Bu qayta-qayta yozyapti degan ma'no yo'q. I go to D. Geoffrey Chaucer yana qaytib keldi. Here, information that we have. First book of poetry, first person to prove English is not vulgar. Nothing about him writing something many times. So I go here. Is another person, William Caxton, but he introduced the printing press. It says here, Caxton himself was inconsistent, spelling the word book in 3 different ways on the same page. So here we have our answer. He spelled the word book in 3 different ways on the same page. So my answer is E. He wrote something many different ways. Okay. Number 5, examples. Again, lists of words which English borrowed from French. So Frenchdan olingan so'zlar deyapti. That means I'm going to go way back up here to where France invaded Britain. And I know it's going to be in this paragraph because the words English borrowed from French, right here. We have some examples. The words crown, castle, blah, 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 all came from French. So my answer here is C. C. And number 6, a reference to the physical appearance of an animal. So here we have this keyword animal. And if you remember, animal was the mouse that we read. It was at the end. Okay, boshqa joyda animal ko'rmadim. So my answer will be F. There you go, easy peasy. Agar matnda qayerda nima ma'lumot borligini bilsangiz, javoblarni topishingiz oson bo'ladi. Even if you don't read the whole text, okay? Nimaga? Chunki ko'p o'quvchilar ingliz tilini IELTSdan nima deydi? Bemalol ko'p tayinlamasdan emas-u, bemalol yuqori ball, ya'ni 7,5, 8, 8, 9 oladigan darajagacha o'rganib ulgurishmasdan IELTS topshirishga harakat qilishadi, o'qishga kirish uchun, misol uchun. Va bunaqa paytda ular misol uchun tushunmay qolmaydigan qo'rquv bilan hamma narsani o'qishga harakat qilishadi. Balki bu yerda javob bordir deb o'qishadi yoki mana bu yerda javob bordir deb o'qishadi, lekin IELTSdan yuqori ball olish uchun ingliz tilini zo'r bilishingiz shart emas, strategy yaxshi bo'lishi kerak. Strategy bilan o'qishingiz kerak. Va mana biz hammasini o'qimagan bo'lsak ham, keywordlarini o'zidan qarab bilib oldik, organization bilib oldik. Undan keyin savollardagi keywordlar bilan o'sha keywordni topib, atrofini o'zini o'qidik, javobini topish uchun. And the keyingi section is a table. It's a one word only, ya'ni bitta so'z ishlatsak bo'ladi bu yerda. So 5th century AD. Esingizda bo'lsa, birinchi ko'rgan vaqtimiz 5th century AD bo'ldi. Mana bu yoqda 5th century. Va bu yerda nima bo'lgan? Germanic tribes invaded England. And we have this here. Germany invaded Britain. And English contains something words. The problem here is most students would contains yoki some degan so'zlarni qidirib vaqt ketkazishadi. Readingda shu so'zlarni qidirib vaqt ketkazishadi. Lekin buni topish uchun sizcha qayerda bo'ladi bu? Hammasini o'qishga harakat qilasiz bo'lmasam. O'shaning uchun try to predict. Ya'ni qanaqa so'z bo'lishi mumkin bu yerda. For example, bitta so'z mumkin bo'lgani bir tomondan oson. Here English contains something words. Demak bu yoqqa yoki qanaqa bitta adjective bo'lishi kerak. Which adjective maybe some kind of a misol uchun name of the language bo'lishi mumkin. For example, English contains some German words bo'lishi mumkin yoki boshqacha sifat bo'lishi mumkin. Misol uchun English contains some qanaqa formal words bo'lishi mumkin, for example. So now you know what the adjective bo'ladi. It's easier to find the answer. So Germanic tribes invaded England. English contains something words. So here, when Germany invaded Britain, English contains degan ma'lumot kerak bizga. But contains o'rniga we're going to say had, was, yoki maybe includes degan so'zlarni qarasak bo'ladi. What kind of words does English contain? The Anglo-Saxons, they brought them dialects of these languages, which are the ancestors of English. Land of origin, language was called English. Origin of the word English. Invaders pushed original Celtic-speaking inhabitants out. One of these was Celtic word, which became the modern English word badger. Others include place names such as London, Dover, and Kent. Okay. So let's see. Language contains some Germanic words, maybe Celtic words. Yes, it is Celtic. Invaders pushed original Celtic-speaking inhabitants out. One of these was the Celtic word. So, like we predicted, it's actually the this word, Celtic word, leaving behind a few Celtic words. One of these was the Celtic word brock, which became the modern word for badger. Alright, so English contains some Celtic words right there. This is also an adjective. 8th and 11th centuries AD, the Vikings invaded England. The Vikings invaded England in paragraph B. English adopted, well, the English, so these are the people from England, they adopted somewhat. Nima adopt qilishdi, o'zligiga olib qolishdi. So adopted, instead of saying, looking for the word adopted, you can look for words like they received, they kept, they adopted dan bo'ladi. So this is the Vikings. They came, many English words that begin with sk, bildik. They also gave us, okay, here gave. Adopted means asrab olmoq. Here, Vikings gave them, asked what. So we're talking about the language English. They gave us the pronouns they, their, and them. Okay, so these words are all pronouns. So the answer here would be pronouns. They adopted some pronouns. Next part, 11th century AD, the Normans invaded England. For Normans, we see the Normans down here, Normans. So it's this paragraph, because Norman haqida ma'lumot yo'q. This is during the French invasion. English spelling changed. For example, Sween became what? And one topish on son, chunki ikkita qo'shni ichida so'z qidirasiz, and it's right here in the middle. It became queen. So the answer for number 9 is just queen. English adopted different words for something. So here we need a noun. They adopted different words for something and the meats they produced, such as pork from French porc. Okay, so the meats they produced. Who produced? They. English the language haqida gap ketyapti. English language adopted different words for something and the meats these things produced. So go'shtlarni nima produce qiladi? Obviously this is supposed to be some kind of animals. And if you look here in paragraph C, we have these pork degan so'zlar mana pastda. Boeuf, mouton, pork, and veau, these are all French words. And we have the English version, beef, mutton, pork, and veal. And the animals from which these meats come, right? So the answer for number 10 is animals. 14th century AD, Geoffrey Chaucer. So we're going to go down to paragraph D, where we talk about Geoffrey Chaucer. When he wrote the Canterbury Tales, Chaucer proved that English was some kind of language. And if you remember, number 3 there, mention of a significant written piece that established English as a language worthy of formal expression. But what biza D deb topdik bu narsani, chunki D da literature haqida yozgan edi, adabiyotga mos bo'lgan til deb. So he proved that English was a literary language because here this language could be used for literary purposes. Adabiyot purposelari uchun. I'm going to write up here literary. There you go. Number 12, William Caxton introduced the printing press. This is the printing guy. The English language became more what? Okay, so here, books became cheaper and more people learned to read. English spelling was still not standardized. Was that right? Was. Oldin standardized bo'lmagan edi, and the same word was often spelled different ways. He was inconsistent. He spelled the book different times, different ways. He published many books in English, which helped it to be standardized. So he published many books in English, the language, and which, meaning shu qilgan actioni, publish qilgani, helped it, the language, to be standardized more and expand the English vocabulary. All right, so the answer here would be standardized because grammatically, the English language became more. So we're talking about the language, publication mass. When the publicationlari orqali bu til standardized bo'lib borgan, bo'lib kelgan, standardized. Standardized. So usually American Englishda bu z bo'lib keladi, but I'm going to copy exactly like it says in here. S bilan yozilgan. There you go. Number 13, the English language gained many something words. The English Renaissance. The English Renaissance is the last paragraph. If you remember, it saw the invention of new words. So it gained many new words, as well as new uses for existing ones. So the answer here would be just new. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful to you. Xudo xohlasa ertaga yana shunaqa passage organize qilib savollarga javob berishni ko'rsataman sizlarga. Hozir endi tushuntirib qilganim uchun vaqt o'tdi, lekin this paragraph bunaqa stilda yozilgan paragraf juda ham oson navigate qilish. Buni savollariga javoblarini maybe 6-7 minutesda topsa bo'ladi. Agar yaxshi practice bilan vaqtga qarab ishlansa. So, agar qiyin joylar chiqqan bo'lsa, tushunmagan joyingiz bo'lsa yozib qoldiring, men tushuntirib berishga harakat qilaman. Bo'lmasam, xudo xohlasa keyingi video lessonimda boshqa passage, boshqacha organize qilingan passage ko'rsatib, undagi savollarga ham vaqt ichida javob berish yo'llarini ko'rsataman. Thanks guys.